Welcome to the conversation. I'm Paul Grandal, the director of the New York State Writers Institute at the University at Albany. I'm really excited about our guests today because they're friends and they're great supporters of the Writers Institute. They've both been featured in part of our events, the poet Dee Collin and photographer Robert Cooper. Welcome.
Thank you.
Greetings.
So you're artistic collaborators, but also partners in real life. What's it been like quarantining together?
I mean, I love spending time with Robert, so I don't think we get sick of each other, and it's nice to have extra time. We also spend some time apart doing our own thing, so that helps too. But yeah, we just been filling in the time.
It really hasn't been too much of a difference. It feels just like, any other day. It's just, we here.
Yeah. But the thing is, you're
Don't go
both
anywhere.
so, I think of you as such public people. Danielle hosting, open mic, poetic vibe, Robert out kind of a street photographer and things. How are you adapting to this virtual world? I'll start with you, Danielle. Are you able to do some poetry events online?
So I've been doing Poetic Vibe on Zoom, and that's been going well. I recently had one feature, but generally speaking, it's just been people coming into Zoom and sharing their own poems. It's like a regular open mic, except it's online. I had to celebrate our Poetic Vibe 4-year anniversary online too, and so then I had to get creative about how that would work and did a whole live marathon of poets from all over the country on Facebook.
That's great.
So it's different, but it's I think it's forcing a different side of creativity on how to like continue the arts in a virtual world.
Congratulations on 4 years. How many poets do you think you've had through there in 4 years?
Wow. If we're talking about like poets who come in and sign up on the open mic, hundreds. Even if we're talking about the amount of poets that I've featured at Poetic Vibe, that's definitely over 100 as well. So
Right.
a lot of poets, a lot of poets.
And Robert, I know when I look at your Instagram account, and I've seen your photography elsewhere, you're out there, you're out at events, you're with musicians, with artists, street photography. How are you able to work in this kind of isolation world?
Well, the only time I could do photography now is like when I go out somewhere, I always bring my camera. And the photographs that you've seen that I posted on Instagram right now are from my digital camera. I have stuff on my film camera that I can't even, get developed because, McGreevy's is closed and, so I can't go there and just drop off my film. And as far as, photo shoots and events, that has all been just shut down. And even with Poetic Vibe, I used to take pictures. Well, I took pictures every week at Poetic Vibe. And now that it's virtual, it's like, it's no point. I can't just take pictures of the screen. So
Yeah.
it's an adjustment.
Yeah. Let's also talk, since you're both, call it the gig economy, you both have to hustle and make money through your art. I know it's hitting a lot of people really hard. Are you able to generate any income using online, either selling photographs online or Danielle selling? I know you do other artwork and things. How are you able to generate income?
Well, I've I've had people buy books online, and I've had to ship that out. I also make earrings, and I've sold a pair of earrings. But generally speaking, I think people kind of know that um, my income has been impacted, and I've had a lot of generosity come my way, with people donating to my Cash App or my Venmo. On Mondays with Poetic Vibe, people will donate to my Cash App or my Venmo. So that's been helping. And then Siena College also kept me on as a writing tutor for HEOP, just virtually tutoring. So I got to finish out the semester tutoring. So that's helped too. But I know artists who like don't have even like a part-time job that they could rely on like I did. And so it's pretty hard. And then, I don't know, Robert could talk about how hard it is for him because he literally can't work the way that he wants to.
Right.
And this usually when the weather gets warmer, that's usually when everybody wants to, take pictures and do photo shoots and things like that. So, I've had people donate to me. That's that's about it.
Right.
So,
At the end, we'll get your website and your Instagram or other ways that people can support you. But let's talk about the project you did together. I know you did a zine. Were they separate or were they together? Talk about that project. One was visual. Talk about it, Robert.
I have 2 photography zines that I created last year, and one of them was pictures that I took when I went to Jamaica a few years back. Actually, I have it right here.
Mhm.
This one right here. You can
Nice.
see it kind of. I took
Yep.
these in Kingston, Jamaica, and I did another one called Unapologetic. It's got her on the cover.
Yes.
Nice.
So that one is, Black women with natural hair just living unapologetically. And I was hoping to do a couple more zines this summer. I mean, I have one completed, but another one that I was doing, I was working on putting together photo shoots, so that's been put on hold. So one of them might come out.
Right. But do you
But
either
yeah,
illustrate her poetry collections or do you add words to his images, work together?
We haven't done that yet. That's an idea. What we do is, I think a couple years ago, we started doing an annual thing. The first year we did an art show and we displayed my paintings and Robert's photos. And we did that as an exhibit. And then last year we decided that we wanted to put out new work. And so Robert did the zines and I put out a new book of poetry. So it's like an annual thing for us to do, like something that we release into the world as a major work. And we've been kind of thinking about what this year's project would look like, given that we're kind of like at home,
Right.
trying to figure out. So we're just trying to figure out what that project will look like this year. But every year we put out something together.
Great. I mean, I think of you two whenever I'm in Troy, you're central to the life and the creative life of that city. What does Troy feel like now? Is it completely shut down? I haven't actually been over there. Is it like everywhere just sort of deserted, or are there people coming out more and more now? Or
It's quiet for me. I mean, we live in Lansingburg, so that's like North Troy. And I think I've left North Troy one time in the last 2 months. So I don't really know like what's going on downtown. Um, I think Robert's been out of North Troy more than me, definitely.
yeah.
yeah, I
When
saw
I go
a
downtown,
picture.
I mean,
Go ahead, Robert.
yeah, when I go downtown Troy, it's like, there's some people there, but all the businesses are shut down. So it's just a lot of people walking around aimlessly in the streets
Yeah.
who, probably are just bored. I don't know, but
I
there's no place.
saw a couple pictures on your recent Instagram, one on the bus, and the CDTA driver had a mask and things. Do you feel they feel like essential workers and that they're kind of putting themselves at risk like so many people in different jobs? Did it feel like that when you were on the bus? Did it feel?
The first time I got on the bus, which was, I think, maybe back in March, when they first started the social distancing and the free bus rides, there was a woman who they have like the front part of the buses locked off, not
Oh,
locked off, but they have the seats up so you can sit there. And a woman stood in that vicinity, and she and the bus driver got in this humongous argument about it. And
oh,
she didn't understand that she could not be there, and they just went back and forth on the bus arguing about that. And then the next week, I saw the story about the bus driver in Detroit who was arguing about the same thing. He made a video complaining about the same thing, and he died a few days afterwards. So
Right.
it's it was serious, but
Right.
she, I guess, didn't understand it and just caused a big ruckus on the bus. But ever since then, I haven't seen any issues. People are still confused about what 6 feet and 2 feet are.
Yeah, I
I've
know.
seen that. It's like you're 2 feet away from me. You're supposed to be 6 feet.
Right. How about actually saw you? I couldn't tell if it was in Troy. It was a beautiful, a sad picture, but it was a blue house that had rent strike. I know rent strikes. My
Yeah.
daughter lives down in Queens. That's issues gathering momentum. Where'd you make that picture?
That was on 2nd Avenue here in Lansingburg, and it was a house. It was actually a house that had that. It was on the CDTA bus stop, but they quickly got rid of it. But I still got a photo of it on my film camera. But I've seen a couple of those in the Lansingburg area, and yeah, it was one on 2nd Ave, and there was one over there on 110th Street, I believe.
Do you think that's
So
getting any
yeah,
traction? I know certain
somebody's.
parts of New York City, they're getting active, and I think they are getting quite a few people to stop withhold rent.
It's not getting any traction here in Lansingburg.
Yeah.
No.
We're still paying rent.
Put that
Now,
here.
have you tried? I know some people with small businesses who are essentially, independent contractors and creative economy people have applied for the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Plan. If you're a small business and things, have you looked into that at all?
I haven't yet. I don't know. Have you?
No.
No, we haven't looked
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah. So what else with this forced time and being at home? Are you binge watching movies? Are you reading more books? Some people are getting so crafty and making things, which put me to shame. I'm not doing anything that interesting or talented. I mean, my dog's getting a lot more walks and things like that, and I'm doing kind of the same and maybe a little more. But are you guys taking on any big project or something? Or
I started a garden, and so
nice.
I started planting seeds. I tried that last year, but I definitely have gotten more involved this year because I have more time. Last year, I just put seeds in dirt and hope they grow. This year, I actually started seeds inside, and I kind of thought through the process. And we had squirrels in the backyard, so I had to research how to like protect my plants from the squirrels. So it's a lot more involved than it was last year. And I've been reading too. I just finished a book called Children of Blood and Bone, which I really enjoyed.
Who wrote that?
And I'm reading the sequel now. Shoot, I should know that.
Actually, I've heard of
I
it. I
think
should know the author, but I don't either.
I think that her last name is Adeyemi, I think.
I
But
think she's Ghanaian too.
yeah,
She's either Ghanaian or Nigerian.
either Ghanaian or Nigerian, and but the book title is Children of Blood and Bone.
Okay, but
So
it's not like a thriller or something. It's
it's like a fantasy novel, and it incorporates Yoruba and the gods of Yoruba all through it, and magic, and it's really cool.
yeah, nice. Are you talking to your colleagues? Because I know a lot of poets, artists, writers, and things. Are people trying to connect and have virtual happy hours or something like that, or whatever?
I mean, sometimes we have work sessions. So that's like when I said I'm not really doing workshops, but sometimes I'll go on Zoom. I'll say, hey, if there are any writers who want to write, we can just be on Zoom and writing. So that's happened a couple times. We're just on Zoom and everybody's working on their projects. We might share with each other what we're writing. But it's just, I think it helps with feeling like you're writing with other people, even if you're like not in the same space, writing with other people. So that's happened a couple times, but yeah, I mean, generally speaking, we just try to like check in every once in a while, just to see how people are doing. I know people check in on me, and because we're like okay, but we're not okay. You know,
Yeah.
it's a weird like teetering between laughing and crying and, you know, trying to figure out what to do.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been talking to a lot of people. There is a lot of despair and just the mental health stress. I found early on I was having really weird dreams, not nightmares, but the problem is I was watching like CNN too late at night, and it's just constant.
Yeah.
Mm.
You got to turn it off sometimes, and I'm reading, more journalism and things about the pandemic than ever before. So, but are you guys feeling at all just like you're not feeling creative, or your mental energy isn't there, or you're not having that problem at all? Or
I started a YouTube series right before the pandemic happened. So I did 2 episodes of my YouTube series before the pandemic, and ever since then I've had to do special pandemic episodes of, how they just creative things that I've like, just things I've been watching, books that I've, photography books that I have. So that has been what my YouTube series has been about. Is just, getting through this epidemic through documentaries, movies, and photography books, so that, hopefully that will hold me over until I can go back to what my YouTube series was supposed to be about. But I'm trying to come up with different topics to talk about while, we're on self-imposed quarantines.
would you want to recommend a photography book or a documentary or anything for anyone? Or?
Um, I did 3 episodes. One was about books. The other one was about movies with photography characters. The other one was about documentaries. And for movies, I recommend, if you haven't seen it already, City of God. It's not really a photography movie, but the character in the movie he becomes a photographer, but it shows his journey into it. And for documentaries, there's a lot of them. There's that you can find on Netflix and Hulu. I've watched one by a rock photographer named Mick Rock. Um, there's also other like Canopy and Hulu and other things that you could just Google photography, and a bunch of documentaries will come up. So, that's what I've been looking at through these bingings.
Yeah, great. I also have been asking people that we talk to on the conversation, do you have any kind of thoughts or advice for the class of 2020? This is sad that they're not going to, especially at University of Miami, so many, over 35% are first generation college students, and it's such a great thing for their family, and they're not going to have that. We hopefully can have it in the fall. But anything you would say to the class of 2020, because this is going to be a weird thing when they can't really get together to celebrate this achievement. Any thoughts that either of you would have?
I mean, it's really important to celebrate that level of achievement, especially for first generation. I know what that's like to be first generation college graduate. And I can't imagine not being able to share that with family and friends. But at the same time, the important thing is that they did all the work. They did all the work and they made it up to this point, and they're still getting their degree. And now they can go out into the world and hopefully make it better than it was before this pandemic. That, the problems I think that this pandemic is kind of highlighting, or helping people to kind of see how extreme disparities can be, especially in a time like this, is an opportunity for college graduates right now to really think outside of the box to make the way that we live in this country better.
Excellent.
I would say also to document everything that's going on, blog about it, take photos, document everything, because in 20 years from now, this is going to be important history. and you're going to want to have these these thoughts and the things that you went through at this time period so that you can show future generations how you got through.
That's a good idea. Spoken like a true photographer. I want to hear, I know you're both from Connecticut. I know, Robert, we've talked about, you're a journalist as well. You worked for newspapers and things in Connecticut. How did you meet? Because Danielle, you were in Connecticut. Did you originally meet in Connecticut? Tell us your backstory of how you connected.
Actually, I'm from Michigan. I was born in Michigan, but I moved to Connecticut.
But I didn't meet him in Michigan. I met him in Connecticut, and I was a student at UAlbany. So it's kind of weird that I met him in Connecticut while I was in Albany.
That is weird.
But I went home and I went to a poetry slam. There was a poetry slam happening in New Haven, and Robert was the photographer at that poetry slam. And he was taking pictures. He took a picture of me. I was sitting next to this woman. I don't know who she was, but we took a picture together. And then after the poetry slam, he approached me to take another picture because he was taking a series of pictures of Black women with natural hair. And at the time, I actually was really looking for a photographer. So he gave me his card. Yeah, I had taken a break from the stage, and I had come back to the stage after that break, and I was like, I really want to take poetry serious, and I want to like go out, be out there, but I need a photo shoot. And then I met him, and I don't know, we were friends for like a year, and the rest is history.
This is why I move with the business card, Robert. I hand it to you, man. So what's your story? Is that how you remember it, or it was love at first sight, or not, Robert?
It was. I tell her all the time it was love at first sight. When I saw her, I said that that's who I want to be with, and I took her photo, and that's exactly what happened. I just, it was just one of those things, and I'm happy for that, and it's been wonderful ever since.
That's great. So I know, Danielle, you brought a poem that you could read for us. Can you talk about both the new collection and Dreaming in Creole, your previous collections? You want to tell us a little bit about each of them?
Sure. Dreaming in Creole is my first collection, and I put that out in 2015. It's a collection that pays homage to my Haitian heritage, family, culture, history, and just, honors that part of me, or that part of my identity. My second book is called Set the Swing to the Hoop, and that's a collection that it visits often my childhood and me growing into my identity, and also it talks about trauma and healing, and it talks about just being Black and a woman in America. So it kind of covers all of those things in Set the Swing to the Hoop.
Great, because I remember when you read one of the poems, maybe it's the title poem, at the Troy Kitchen for the poetry workshop. I should have said before that you're a fellow and connected to the New York State Writers Institute. You led a very wonderful poetry workshop that met at the Troy Public Library, and then the final class kind of graduation was at your Poetic Five event, and I remember asking you played basketball, right? Because I still play.
Yeah.
I'm an old guy, and we've been this pickup game's been going like 37 years. We invite you, but we can't play right now. But whatever. So tell me about how much you played basketball.
I played basketball in middle school, and I had big dreams. Played basketball from 5th through 8th grade. And then when I went to high school, I went to the wrong high school for basketball. But I had these big dreams. I wanted to play for Gino Auriemma. I wanted to go to UConn on a full ride scholarship.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna, go to the NBA. And then the WNBA happened. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I had big dreams. But then the school that I went to, my first high school, I went to 2 different high schools, but my first high school was majority white and was a very, very small Black population at that school. All my friends who were on the basketball team with me in middle school, who were also Black, did not make the team, and I didn't make the team. And the girl who did make the team, her family was friends with the coach. So we all had this whole conspiracy kind of thing, thought process about like why we didn't make the team. And then sophomore year, we didn't make the team either. And it was still only one Black person on the team. So it was just the wrong school. And then when I transferred high schools, I don't know, there was a lot going on my junior year and I just lost basketball.
Yeah.
I just lost it. So that's one of the things I wish, like I went to the right school for basketball because I loved it so much. And I still do, just it, that dream just like wasn't gonna happen. But that's my story about
We'll
that.
invite you because we're now a bunch of old guys. We have a couple of young players, but over the 36 years, the two best players were women players because they had both played in college and they would school us. But anyway, you're invited when we resume. You too, Robert. Do you play at all? You can take photos.
I played baseball.
All right. So anyway, we're not too good. We're old and slow, but anyway, what do you want to read for us, Dee?
This is a new poem that I wrote during National Poetry Month, which was last month, April. And I was kind of in my feelings. But, okay. Gaslighting, by definition, is to manipulate someone into questioning their own sanity. So please note, when this is all over, they will frost up their flaky agendas and say they're great. As a matter of fact, they will say it is the greatest it has ever been. They will make it a campaign commercial and show it at the next White House briefing. When this is all over, they will tell you again that America runs on Duncan. But you let them know that America stopped running to learn how to walk again, that walking is nice too, that we can still slow down to see each other's face more clearly. And if you want to get real, remind them that America ran on the mighty dollar's fist pounding into the belly of America, that it prioritized productivity over mental health and Wall Street over teachers. And maybe this time around, it can, put simply, not do that. They will say, look, America, no cavities, while we are still trying to fill the holes. They will try to fool you into believing they saved America. Tell them it was the essential workers who continued to show up for work, to clean the nursing homes, to ring us out at the grocery store, to pile up the bodies. Tell them it was the bodega, the restaurants still open to feed us, the hospitals at capacity. Tell them it was art that spilled from our mouths and our hands to sustain our collective hope. Tell them it was Rihanna redistributing her wealth. Tell them it was the teachers who wore PJs to their Zoom classroom because even Corona couldn't take Spirit Week away. Tell them it was the people, for the people, by the people. When this is all over, they will tell you again, a diamond is forever. But you will still know the fragility of the body and how fleeting or suspended time can be. And what is a diamond but a rock people die for? When they say a diamond is forever, just say, so is death. Next time they ask, what's in your wallet? Ask them what's in theirs. Tell them you learned how free, just how free the world could be. Then when this is all over, just remember there are some things money can't buy. For everything else, MasterCard is only an option. They will say America has the biggest economy, the greatest economy we ever had, the highest employment numbers, the best employment numbers, best unemployment numbers, the best of everything. Tell them leading the world in COVID-19 confirmed cases by over 400,000 is not the best. And this wasn't even about being the best of anything. It was about survival. They will say, keep America great, because it always was. You let them know flat out that is a lie. But what we can do is build a new America. They will say all the things to make you think you imagined it all, that COVID-19 never happened, that it was a hoax, and that they did great things to handle the hoax that never happened. Remember, you heard the earth ask, "Can you hear me now?" And we don't need Verizon to listen to the woods. We will remember the dead, unsung and buried, the ground holding their bodies as we hold hands again. We will listen to the earth, look into the cleared water, breathe the air, feel more human than we ever have. And next time an M&M melts in your mouth, you will think of a warm someone melting in your hands instead. That to touch is precious, to feel breath graze your ear, to form your lips for a kiss, to dap, high five, to footsie under a table, to be tickled until your belly feels like a workout. Tell them yes. An M&M maybe doesn't melt in your hands, but everything else can. They will say, let's get back to the regular. Should we get back to the regular? Just say no.
Thank you. That's powerful.
Thank you.
It's amazing. It's so of this moment, and but it also, since it's last month only, that number has tripled. When you
Yeah.
get the current number 400,000, now it's like 1.2 million or something.
Yeah.
Shows, but that is really political too. That's a forceful poem. Thank you. So is that in the new collection, or
No.
no? It's not.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll put out another book this
Well,
year and
I
it'll
was
be in
also going to say we're going to do a edition of Trolley, the Writers Institute online journal, specifically coronavirus related. So if either of you, either that poem or any other poem, and some of your photographs, Robert, I'll after we finish here, I'll send that information. So this has been wonderful. Our poet Dee Collin, photographer Robert Cooper. I want you to, Robert, once again, can you hold up and give us the name of the zines? And then we'll also link to this, your website, but is there another place people can go to see and purchase your work?
The zines are on Blurb, which is a website that, prints books, and, that's what I use to print this one up. And there's a link on my Instagram page. I also have a Facebook page for the zine. It's called Mfoni, which is spelled M-F-O-N-I.
Okay.
And they could find links to purchase the zine there. And also, Instagram that I have is R Cooper Photography. And my YouTube series is Robert Cooper, The Gallery.
Okay. So I will, when you email all the links, we'll include those with this recorded conversation. And so good to see you. I wish I know we'll see each other in person soon. I always like seeing you around, and we appreciate all the help and support you've given the Writers Institute. And let's stay connected, and good luck in the rest of this quarantine.
Absolutely. Thank you for you continuing to think of us and including us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the dual interview.
You guys are strong. We'll get through this together. So again, poet Dee Collin, photographer Robert Cooper, thanks for joining the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.